Welcome to the dramatic Seaton Delaval Hall. Designed by the architect Sir John Vanbrugh in 1718 and once home to the larger-than-life Delaval family. In an age known for extremes of behaviour, the Gay Delavals, as they were known, carved out a reputation for themselves as some of the most notorious partygoers and pranksters of the Georgian era. In 2009, friends, volunteers and supporters gathered together to raise the funds to save this special place. The National Trust was to be able to acquire the property and have been working hard on a series of restoration projects since then, most recently with the Curtain Rises, our £7.8 million National Lottery Heritage Fund supported project. As a guest of the Delavals in the 18th century, you would have stepped out of your carriage into the forecourt. With views to the north of the sea and the Cheviot Hills, you would have felt immediately taken into the embrace of the property, with the central hall in front and the east and west wings to either side. Stepping inside the central hall and its 300-year history becomes immediately apparent, a unique space that really fires the imagination. From its heyday as the entrance to the Delaval's Grand Mansion, it's seen many parties, survived a great fire, military occupation, and remains an awe-inspiringly beautiful space. Standing here in the entrance hall, as you can see, we're left with a burnt-out shell, which creates a very unique and atmospheric space. Although unoccupied since the fire of 1822, the central hall is now home to the UK's largest winter roost of pipistrelle bats. Here remains the original black and white floor. 6 statues adorn the upper arcade, representing the muses for architecture, painting, music, sculpture, geography and astronomy. Also on the ground floor we have the saloon where the Delavals would have entertained their guests. It also has evidence of later Victorian repairs by the architect John Dobson, with sweeping views of the vista to the south and the portico steps almost feeling like a stage. The spiral staircases to the east and west of the central hall are one of Seaton Delaval Hall's most iconic features. A feat of engineering for their time, and bearing scars from the fire of 1822, these significant features had become worn and structurally unsound. We've been carrying out critical conservation work to ensure that visitors can continue to use them to access the basement and the first floor. Years of neglect had left the basement dark, damp and uneven. This area is now waterproof as our team have installed damp-proof membranes beneath both of the portico steps. They've also put in new lighting and flagstone flooring to enhance the architectural features and the atmosphere of this unique space. These stone stables were completed in 1765, and to celebrate, Francis Bake Delaval held a banquet for the local gentry. Guests arrived to find the hall shrouded in darkness, only for a gleeful Francis to throw open the doors to the stables with a great banquet set out around the stalls. It's this kind of mischief that really delighted the Delavals, especially Francis and his younger sister Sarah, about whom all kinds of rumours circulated around their cruel jokes, tricks and wagers. Guests retiring for the night would often find ducks, chickens or even geese in their beds. Others were put to bed drunk, only to wake up in the morning in alarm to find all of the fixtures and fittings had been deliberately turned upside down. In more recent times, these stall dividers were at risk of collapse and in need of urgent conservation work. The team have had to deconstruct them and replace the ironwork inside with new stainless steel straps and pins, and then rebuild them using new and historic stone. The post ends have also had conservation work done to them, with new foundations put in to strengthen them. The southeast gardens are undergoing some of the biggest transformations as part of our project works on site. The decision was taken to reimagine this area using the earliest surviving plans of the gardens from 1781. We've undertaken woodland management in this area to improve the health of the site and also to restore historic viewpoints. We've also opened new pathways, introduced a new and exciting planting scheme and brought some of the playfulness back to the pleasure grounds with the mirror cube, the sound pipes and the dark matter cube. The formal gardens at Seaton Delaval Hall provide a varied yet intimate experience. At just under 3 acres, they really do pack a punch. The formal rose garden dates back to the early 20th century and it was largely replanted during the 50s and 60s under the direction of the late Lady Hastings. In more recent years, the gardens team have cut back the box hedging due to disease and planning is now underway to reimagine and reinvigorate this area. Further back, we have this magnificent weeping ash tree sat on its own lawn and surrounded by a herbaceous border. It's cared for by our gardens team. Has strategically placed props to hold up its aging branches. Here we are in the Arboretum with the Church of Our Lady in the background. Historically, this was the Delaval family's place of worship and dates back to the end of the 11th century. And now here we are in the sunken parterre garden, the first large-scale work of famed English garden designer James Russell. Also around the grounds we have several 18th century statues. Here we have the goddess Diana. Also in the formal garden we have Samson slaying a Philistine, and in the central courtyard there is David about to slay Goliath with a sword. Originally these statues would have sat in the bastions and would have been painted white to look like marble and would have made a striking sight standing in their curved bastions. Like the southeast gardens, the northwest woodland has seen some of the biggest transformation as part of our project. Designed by Studio Hardy, the Delaval Palladium is our new play area and is based off the Delaval's love of all things theatrical and dramatic, and it's ready for you to stage your very own production. No National Trust property is complete without its cafe, and our new Brewhouse Cafe really is the icing on the cake. This building actually predates the mansion house and is part of a series of outbuildings from the 1660s that were here before the Vanbrugh designed house. Originally built for the housing of livestock and later converted for the brewing of ales, we've converted it into a really relaxed space for a cuppa that retains a lot of the historic features such as the bare stone walls and the mash tun base. The west wing was originally the servants' wing, with kitchen, laundry and servants' bedrooms. In the 1990s, the late Lord and Lady Hastings moved here and turned the west wing into their family home, where they lived until they passed away in 2007. That same year, Delaval Astley, the 23rd Baron of Hastings, approached the National Trust about the possibility of acquiring the property. Until very recently, the west wing was covered in scaffolding while we undertook the mammoth task of re-roofing and re-stabilising the wing. Work continues inside, where the team are stripping away interior paint and installing a new conservation-grade heating system. We'll be putting the collection back in and fitting new interpretation schemes to tell the story of the infamous Delavals. As we move into the next chapter of the Hall's history, it's thanks to your support that we can continue to look after this special place forever for everyone. So thank you, and we look forward to welcoming you back to Seaton Delaval Hall soon.